This is how 6+ years of meditation has changed my life. Meditation is one of the best things that someone can do if they want to change themselves, their mind, their consciousness, and their life. Typically, when we're going through our day, we're just reacting to life. We're reacting to the external world and our own internal world. We're reacting to what's on the news, that look that that person gave us, or what that person said about us. And we're reacting to our thoughts, sensations, emotions, feelings, needs, wants, desires. We're not really conscious of our experience. We're just sort of going through it subconsciously. We're not actually paying attention to it. Meditation is about, instead of just reacting to everything, we observe everything. We make the unconscious conscious, and we stop letting it control our lives. Basically, our own internal world controls us like a puppet on a string, and meditation allows you to simply observe how you react to all these things that are going on inside of you and outside of you, and it allows you to rewire yourself. It allows you to change yourself. In order to actually change yourself, you need to make the unconscious conscious. You have to rewire your subconscious mind. That is what is responsible for 90 to 95% of your life. So I've been meditating for about 6+ years now, and I've been on many retreats as well. And I first started, obviously 6+ years ago, and the very first time I sat down, I could not do even 1 minute. I got up in anger after 30 seconds and gave up for the day. But I intuited the value, the tremendous amount of value of this practice. I had just a pure intuition, just a gut feeling that this will help me a lot. And so I returned to it the next day, and I might have done like 2 minutes. And then by the end of that week, I did about 15 minutes. Then I worked my way up to 30 minutes, and then I worked my way up to 1 hour. Then about 2 hours. Now I do around 1 to 2 hours a day, anywhere between there. And I want to say a quick disclaimer. I've done a lot of self-help, personal development practices, all that kind of stuff. Cold showers, I've completely changed my diet. I've read hundreds of books, do stretching, yoga, weightlifting, a bunch of exercise routines, visualization, gratitude practices. Meditation is on a whole other level than all of this stuff because it is just about you dedicating time to being aware of yourself as opposed to acting unconsciously and subconsciously. Through awareness, you have the power to change. So there's a lot of conventional level stuff that meditation helped me with, and then there's a lot of more abstract sounding spiritual stuff that meditation helped me with as well. And I'm going to start with the conventional stuff. Meditation allowed me to become aware of the unconscious psychological and emotional patterns that exist inside of me. It gave me the ability to actually process them and change them. It radically increased my self-awareness and my emotional intelligence. Meditation gave me an understanding of how my unhealthy habits are actually created by my inner world, my state, my level of consciousness. A lot of unhealthy habits are just coping mechanisms for stored energy inside of you, trauma, repressed emotions, things you're denying, just pushing down. And it's helped me to become aware of these underlying dynamics that are going on inside of me and begin to change them so that I'm just functioning in a smoother and healthier way. Meditation has helped me to get into my body a lot more and to actually really listen to it. It's allowed me to listen to my emotions, my intuition, feelings, sensations. It gets me to listen to my tensions, my reactions. Your body is highly intelligent, and I'm going to be covering a little bit more of that later. Meditation helped me to increase my mental and emotional well-being. It helped me to observe the patterns that I have inside of myself that create suffering, and it helped me to change them. Basically, the number one cause of suffering is resisting the present moment. I resist life far less, therefore, my level of suffering has radically decreased. We're typically just struggling against reality. We're trying to manipulate it. We're trying to extract from our environment and take for ourselves. We're just in like this constant state of war, like battle with the present experience. Meditation is a good way to become aware of that, see the amount of suffering that it causes, and then allow yourself to live in a more harmonious state with the present experience. It allows you to see all of these unconscious dynamics that lead to unwanted outcomes in your life. Meditation made me more grounded, more stable, and more connected to myself. And as a consequence of that, I can connect with other people at a deeper level. There's a massive relationship between the depth at which you can connect to yourself and the depth at which you can connect to other people. If you cannot connect to yourself at a deep level, you cannot connect to other people at a deep level. Meditation improved every category of my life. It helped me to build up, it was completely necessary for building up the psychological foundation for my life. It helped me get clarity around what I want from my career, what I want from my relationships, what I want from my health, what's really good for me, what's in alignment with me. It helped me to know myself, or really, as the Greeks say, to know thyself. It helped me get clear about how my psychology works, what my values are, my likes, dislikes, preferences, biases, what I really want, what's authentic to me. It just helped me to really zoom into my own being and get clear about what's really going on inside of me. It's done quite a lot more than that. It's helped me with how I relate to people. It's helped me with not being triggered by things. It's done so much that I actually can't even really explain how much it's actually done. You'll just have to see for yourself. But now I want to move into the spiritual section of what it's helped me with. Meditation has helped me to develop my intuition, or just a pure sense of knowing beyond logic, just kind of being able to sense into my experience, feel it out, and get a lot of valuable information through that. It's helped me to live more in alignment with who I am on a purely instinctual and intuitive level. So all this stuff is kind of opposed to logic and rationality. And meditation has exposed me to levels of consciousness that transcend rationality. This doesn't mean that we don't think anymore. We don't have logic or rationality. It's just helped me to move beyond them and not be strictly trapped in them, because our logic, our rationality is highly self-deceptive. Our mind is very coded to deceive itself. It's actually a survival mechanism. Our psychology is very sneaky. It represses, denies, avoids, lies, does quite a lot under the threshold of our awareness, kind of like how a magician fools people using sleight of hand and people don't really notice. So there's nothing wrong with logic or thought or any of that. There's just levels of consciousness that transcend them. And a lot of this stuff, intuition, all the stuff I mentioned, it is actually sort of emanating from our body, from being in deep contact with our body. Our body is a highly intelligent system. It's not just a dumb hunk of meat. It's far smarter than our usual thinking mind. It's giving us constant impulses and sensations and feelings. It's guiding us constantly through heart feelings and gut feelings. So it's about integrating all these parts of ourselves so that they can function together as a whole and relate to each other properly. Moving on, meditation retreats led to major shifts in my being, myself as a whole. It radically changed my perception of reality, my awareness. It's helped me to release stored energies inside of myself, remove triggers, heal trauma that has caused misperception in my sort of, mind and my basically worldview and my, how I see reality. And there's this assumption that a lot of people have. A lot of people think that every human kind of just experiences reality in the same way. But there's levels of consciousness. People actually experience reality in radically different ways. Like right now, I am conscious that everything I'm doing, thinking, saying is spontaneously arising from the source of creation itself, from a pure, empty consciousness. Everything I do, say, think, feel arises from this same source. And it's the same thing with all beings. Everyone is ultimately made out of this one source. Everything ultimately arises from consciousness, and it's made of absolutely nothing. It's completely formless. So more about that soon. Meditation also helped me with a lot of spiritual wisdom, basically through direct consciousness, not as a belief, not as I pick up a book, I read it, I believe it, but as you're actually aware of it. It's your direct experience. You are living it. In the same way that if I wanted to tell you that your hand exists, right? What can you do? Right? You just look at your hand, you confirm it for yourself. You're aware of your hand. It's the exact same thing. If you want to see that any of the stuff I'm about to say is real, you can raise your consciousness to the point where it becomes life, it becomes your ordinary reality. It just becomes how life is. So some of that spiritual wisdom, if you want to call it that, is how the ego is an illusion. Our sense of self, our identity, isn't existentially true. It's something that I'm creating moment by moment. It's something that the human mind creates moment by moment. And it's basically a mechanism. The ego is a mechanism that we use to manipulate reality and extract from it in order to survive. It's a survival mechanism. Our human sense of self, the very strong sense of self that we have, is a survival mechanism. And this gives rise to the illusion of separation, the perception of separation, the perception that things are separate from each other. They're not ultimately unified with each other. And all this stuff is really just a projection of our own mind. Like the perception of separation is actually a misperception that we project onto reality. Separation is an optical delusion. It's not actually found in nature, it's found in our projection of reality. This basically leads to non-duality. Not two is what non-duality stands for, and it is about the nature of existence. Everything being one, everything being inseparable from everything else, everything ultimately being consciousness, emptiness. As the Buddhists like to say, Taoist traditions also talk about non-duality. Christianity, Islam also mentions it a lot. Judaism, basically all major spiritual traditions were founded upon the idea, not even the idea, the direct consciousness of non-duality. Same thing with a lot of indigenous spiritual traditions, and even quite a lot of Western philosophers like Plotinus. Quite a few of them were enlightened. They realized themselves as the source of creation, one with the source of creation. A good Jesus quote is, "The Father and I are one." Another thing is that reality as we typically think of it is a construct. Like our conventional human reality is a construct. It's actually something that our minds invent. There's a massive connection between our mind and reality. And our mind and our level of consciousness has major impacts on reality, our perception of it, how we frame it, how we interpret it, how it appears to us. We're not just like passive observers living in some kind of objective world. We are interconnected with everything, inseparable from everything, and impacting everything. And collectively, we like to reinforce our perceptions of reality. We like to use other humans to basically reinforce our beliefs and, just perceptions. And we do this to create a sense of security, safety, and it helps us to survive collectively. It's not existentially true. There's nothing bad or wrong about it. It's just that how we typically experience reality, how we typically think about it in the mainstream world, can be very wrong in a lot of ways. It's not 100% wrong. There's validity, a lot of validity to it, but there's just more. So I'm advocating for the basic, I don't really want to say fact, but the basic fact almost, that there's just more than meets the eye. And you can become directly conscious of it for yourself. The final point is that consciousness is fundamental to reality. Anyone can become aware of this for themselves. They don't have to believe it from me or a guru or in a book or any of that kind of stuff. Reality itself is alive, it's intelligent, it's conscious, it's not a clockwork machine. The universe is more like an intelligent organism rather than a clockwork machine. So I hope that wasn't too much at once, and everything I said in this video you can become directly aware of for yourself. We have this illusion that people experience life in the exact same way, that everyone has the same perception, everyone experiences reality in the same way. This cannot be further from the truth. People experience reality in vastly different ways. A lot of us can share similarities, right? They definitely exist, but a lot of us can share major differences as well. And as you raise your consciousness, you will experience reality in different ways. Not in scary ways. It's not scary. It's more about aligning yourself with the truth, with how reality actually is, with what reality actually is. You're basically living in alignment with truth rather than falsehood and delusion. So I hope none of what I said scares you or anything, because it's not scary, right? If you're scared by what I said, you're probably misunderstanding what I said. So that's it for this video. If you have any questions, let me know in the comment section below. I offer one-to-one coaching. You can book a free call. Link is in the description. Take it easy.